Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here, covering new PC releases for the week of April 1st to the 7th. Starting on Monday, April the 1st, we saw the release of Donna Fantasy Kingdom Wars. This is a 3D MMO real-time strategy game. So they're taking the basic elements of an RTS and putting it in an MMO setting. The game has you doing things like gathering resources, constructing buildings, directing citizens, completing quests, and managing an economy, all of which will be happening in a persistent online realm. So when you're not playing, the world keeps going, and when you return, things may be different. Maybe part of your city's destroyed or something because you were under attack. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to come into play, but it's a pretty interesting game. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the time this week to give it a look. My schedule is fairly tied up, but it's definitely something that I would suggest keeping an eye on because it is a really interesting concept. Now for today, Tuesday, April the 2nd, we saw the release of Defiance, the third-person MMO shooter from the developers of Rift. This is the game that coincides with the sci-fi television series of the same name, and what's supposed to happen is if major events take place in the TV series, they're supposed to also be shown in the game, and I believe vice versa. So it's pretty cool that they're going to have this sort of interwoven game and television series experience. Now, whether or not the game's any good, well, that's up for debate. I spent some time with it in the beta. I didn't think it was that great, but I do want to visit the game once again now that it has officially released. Unfortunately, I tried to do that today, and I spent a good 3 hours attempting to make a video for Defiance, but the servers kept on crashing. I guess I should have just expected that since it is an MMO launch, so I wasn't able to actually get a video fully recorded. I'm going to try this again tomorrow and hopefully give you some coverage of Defiance so you guys can have a better idea of what the game is all about. Also released today was Cities in Motion 2. This is a transportation simulation management game where the player takes control of a city's public transport. Now, this isn't a city building game like SimCity. It's more of a, well, you take care of the transport. You basically take care of the bus lines or taxis or potentially trains or maybe even some water vehicles as well. It's a game about managing the transportation of a city. Now, I do have a Steam key, so I do have access to the game, and I plan to take a look at it. Hopefully this is something that I can either do tomorrow or the day after, and to give you guys some footage of Cities in Motion 2. On Thursday, April the 4th, we're seeing the release of Evoland, a fantasy RPG that takes you on a journey through the history of action-adventure gaming, from monochrome to full 3D graphics. I mean, it's taking you from essentially the genesis of RPG games all the way up to today with the 3D RPG, all of which is packaged into one game. I'm wondering though if this is going to be a fully linear experience where you start off monochrome and then the final chapters are 3D graphics, or if it's going to bounce in between, which is sort of what I hope happens. Once again, I've got a Steam key for this game as well, and I will be giving it a look to give you guys an idea of what the game's all about. And this one I'm pretty excited for, and once again, I hope it's more of a bouncing back and forth between the different RPG styles rather than starting at the very beginning and then the end of the game is the 3D, because I don't know if I'll finish the game enough to get to that point. And finally, on Friday, we've got 2 games released for April the 5th. Sang-Froid Tales of Werewolves is a strategy action game featuring 2 brothers who are trying to save their sister from evil werewolves. A pretty interesting looking game that I will be giving a look. And then Lords of Football, a sports lifestyle simulator where you play in God mode and take control of the life of a football player. Now, this is the classic football, the traditional football, which some of you may know as soccer, as opposed to the Americanized football. And yeah, it's a sim game where you're controlling a football player's life from practice on the actual field to what he does at the after party. It doesn't really pique my interest, and I don't think I'll be giving this game a look. And that pretty much wraps it up for new releases for this week. Let's go ahead and talk about my planned content. So once again, I do plan to give Defiance a look so long as the servers are cooperating with me tomorrow. You should expect a video at some point within the day. And I do have Steam keys for City in Motion 2 as well as Evoland and Sang-Froid. So I'll be giving those 3 games a look as well. And then also I'm going to pre-purchase Company of Heroes 2 to get access to the beta. That began today, and I hope to give you guys some footage of that because I'm really excited for that. I actually didn't really play the original Company of Heroes, but it looks really cool and I want to dive in and see what this game's all about. out. So that's it for new games. Beyond that, we're going to continue the Tomb Raider Let's Play. Elder Scrolls Online cast, I believe, is going to be happening on Friday. I haven't spoken with Jesse. I know he was recently overseas, and I'm not sure if he's returning in time, but if he is, and so long as he's available on Friday, we should be doing the Elder Scrolls cast. And then I do plan to hopefully get one Smite match in for you guys, and of course on Friday, we've got Friday Night Magic, and then the Force Feed on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that is going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video covering new PC releases for the week, as well as my planned content. If you like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.